So the real question is, how long had someone been watching them? Before the murders, this remote farm already felt deeply wrong. Hinterkaifeck stood isolated, surrounded by fields, silence, snow, and darkness. A family lived here, unaware their home was becoming a trap. Nothing looked unusual at first, yet the atmosphere felt strangely heavy. Then small warnings appeared, quiet signs that danger was already near, and nobody on that farm understood how close horror truly was. The farm sat far from town, hidden behind fields and woods. Life there was quiet, repetitive, and cut off from outsiders. Inside, the family followed ordinary routines that made the place feel safe. They worked, ate, and slept there, surrounded by silence every night. But that isolation also meant nobody nearby could notice trouble. From outside, it looked like a normal farmhouse living its routine. That ordinary routine is what makes everything that followed feel worse. They worked, ate, and slept there, surrounded by silence every night. But that isolation also meant nobody nearby could notice trouble. From outside, it looked like a normal farmhouse living its routine. That ordinary routine is what makes everything that followed feel worse. Then one morning, strange footprints appeared in the fresh snow. They led straight toward the farmhouse, as if someone had arrived. But there were no tracks showing anyone had ever left. That meant one terrifying possibility. Whoever came might still be there. Soon, odd details appeared inside the house that made even less sense. Even small things went missing, making the home feel less secure. Then, at night, unsettling sounds began coming from the attic. The noises were enough to make the whole family feel watched. But when they checked, the attic seemed completely empty. That only made the farmhouse feel even more deeply unsettled. By then, fear had already started living inside that house. The warnings were there, long before anyone understood what they meant. Then came the day when that fear finally turned real. By then, the farm no longer felt uneasy, it felt doomed. Somewhere on that property, the quiet was about to break forever. Then, whatever had been waiting there finally made its move. After that moment, the farmhouse seemed to fall into dead silence. The home was still there, but something human was suddenly missing. What happened there transformed ordinary farm life into pure horror. It was no longer just a farm, it had become a crime scene. After the violence, the entire property felt emptied of life, and from that day on, Hinterkaifeck was never just a home again. Soon, people noticed the farm had gone unnaturally silent. When no one responded, concern slowly turned into real suspicion. The house looked normal, but the silence inside felt wrong. Stepping closer, it became clear something terrible had happened there. The discovery did not feel dramatic, it felt cold and devastating. In that moment, the entire farm became a place of shock. What began as fear had now become one of Germany's darkest mysteries. Soon, investigators arrived and began searching every part of the farm. Investigators confirmed that all 6 people on the farm were dead. They searched the house, the barn, and the entire surrounding property. The evidence suggested the killer may have known the farm well. Strangely, the farm did not seem immediately abandoned afterward. Some details hinted that someone may have remained there for days. That led to a terrifying theory. The killer may have stayed. Police built theories, reviewed clues, and considered several possible suspects. But the more they examined it, the less the case made sense. There were statements, suspicions, and theories, but no final proof. The farm held the answers, but investigators could never fully reach them. And that is how the investigation turned into a lasting mystery. Over time, investigators considered several different suspects in the case. Some theories looked strong, especially when motives seemed to fit. There were rumors, statements, and suspicions, but no complete picture. Each promising lead seemed to break apart under closer scrutiny. Years passed, but the case refused to give a final answer. It became more than a crime, it became a lasting mystery. And behind every theory, one figure still remained completely unknown. In the end, Hinterkaifeck was left without a proven killer. In the end, Hinterkaifeck became far more than an old crime. What makes it haunting is that the warnings appeared before the murders. It always felt possible that someone was already close to them. That is why this case still feels so deeply unsettling today, because even now the final truth remains completely unproven. And that is why Hinterkaifeck remains one of true crime's coldest mysteries.